Hello everyone, I am Nudos. Welcome to another episode of Minecraft. I am down here in the Capitalism Contraption, the villager distribution system, because I have added another destination. You can see right over there, right over my shoulder, we can now get to the smithy. And I want to talk about the future of this system. Let's look at the whole closed loop, shall we? First, they are born here in the breeding dungeon. They drop down, they come over here, and now they are trapped in this spot until they grow up. We can throw a minecart down the rail, and that brings them over here into the training center, where we lock them in, try to give them a job, send them on their way. From here, they can come down here, and as configured right now, this will take them off and over to the library. We can flick this lever, that will take them all the way down here, and up and over into the smithy. As a future destination, this will eventually go all the way over to the farm thing, and that currently is the only escape from the system. Other than this other thing I want to talk about. We'll eventually swap this lever out for a more automated solution, but before I can automate all of these buttons and attach them to the rails to figure out where things go, I need to build all of the destinations because it gets a little bit complicated. Right now, let's say we want to go to the smithy. Easy. We just change this. When we unselect that, it undoes. Now, if we want to go to the library, we don't have to do anything there. But what if we want to send them over to the farm? Well, we need to trigger this. Then we'll also have a lever down there that we need to trigger, and so on and so forth. If we want to send them to the masonry, then we need to figure out which tracks we need to switch. So we have to wait until we're done with all of these various things, and then we can hijack these and send them over. And then I think after that we'll work on the minecart return system, which will come over here. I need to move that barrel. It is currently completely useless. The other thing, if we're truly wanting to commit to making this the capitalism contraption, then I think we need a setup to hire and to fire. Normally for the librarians, it doesn't really matter. We're getting the good trade at the basic level, then we just send them off, we give them a little shove and off they go. But when we start getting into farmers and masons and blacksmiths and the armorers and all that stuff, a lot of their better trades don't come until higher levels, and we might not get what we want out of them. And so for that, I think we need a fire option. So maybe we'll put a sign here that says hire, and then the simple solution here for firing is just they can come down here and off this way, but maybe there's another rail that goes this way or off that way. Make it sort of a one-way journey so they can come in here, and then if we don't like what they have to offer, we flick this on and we bonk them back that way, and they're fired. So I think that's something for me to think about, but I need to finish building the rest of these first, and it would probably make sense for me to label each of these, maybe with just a hanging sign that says where each goes so that I can keep track of what I am building. Okay, there we go. Everything's labeled. People should still be able to get through these. Looking good. Another thing that I want to do today is at least start constructing the framework of the house. I think it's time that we move out of this stupid little hut and at least put down some scaffolding or something for what that's going to look like. Maybe we'll even put down some scaffolding for what that's going to look like, or decide if we want to just move him into the forge area. I don't know yet, but I think it's time we think about that. I need to go sleep because it's nighttime, and then I'm going to finish constructing the elevator for the farm area. All right, I have finished the farm one. Now the question is, does it work? Okay, it isn't perfect. I mean, presumably this will eventually become grass. For right now, it is a little obvious that it's there. But I do believe if I hit this again, and there we go. That's open. So I have enough simulation distance to make that work. We have a farm, a smithy, and a library as configurable destinations. So we can send a farmer over there if we want. Although I do still need to actually put in all the rails. That part is not done yet. So maybe this guy can become our next farmer. We can get some farmers going, and then maybe we just put in our little firing spot over there, so to speak. A certain kind of fire, let's say. Whee! These will never stop being fun. All right, I have finished all of this construction, so we now have the hire route and the fire route, which goes over this way. Just, don't look that way. I'm the CEO. I don't have to look at what's happening to the peasants. Then we also have our farm set up, all railed up. So I think it would be fun to give this all a try here. Maybe we bring this guy up. I've got a composter in hand. There he goes. Round and around and around he goes. Gonna lock you in here. And see what kind of trades we can get out of you. Would you take a job? Villagers these days can't even pay them to work. You see, here's a great example. What I really want are people who take melon and pumpkin trades. But this guy, all he wants is to sell me pumpkin pies and apples. I got bad news for you, buddy. Ah, crap. I didn't configure this right. Well, this is awkward. Okay, there's now a lever here. I think this means I might have to put some sort of button in for firing. I have bad news, buddy. We don't have need of your services at this time. I forgot the glass. You saw nothing. Yes, hello, Mr. and Mr. Villager. Sadly, I regret to inform you that your son has tragically died in a workplace incident. After a thorough investigation, it has been determined that the company is not at fault, so regrettably, you will not be compensated. Have a good day. I've made some changes to the firing system, so now the villager, when we initially get them, goes this way and in there. If they get sent back, they'll go this way and off that way, and then the cart will just return out to there. And you'll see here, I had to go through a couple of iterations. It kept dropping the villager here instead of down over there. So this way, by having a block there, we essentially trick the game into dropping the villager there. And then down they go. So that should be all set to go now. But enough about that. We will get some replacement employees for the farm later. In the meantime, I think I want to start putting up the scaffolding for what this house might look like, kind of playing around with the shapes and the sizes and figuring out what this is going to look like. But before I do that, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. While I was making this video, I recorded a whole section here that was saying, hey guys, we are almost at 500 subscribers. Isn't that cool? But you guys really liked that last episode, and now I'm well past 500 subscribers, and that is really cool. That means a lot to me. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. If you're new here, hey, welcome. If you've been here for a while, thank you for continuing to watch. I'm just really glad you guys are here and enjoying the videos. So that's enough about the mushy stuff. Let's get to planning. So the first thing that I needed to do here was obviously take down the existing house. This has been with us for, I don't know, several months now, but it's decidedly in the way. So that had to go. By the way, I'm trying out a different time-lapse sort of mod here. Can't really call this a time-lapse, but this is using flashback instead of replay mod. And as you can see, I've also put on some shaders. These are the complementary shaders, the reimagined version. I think they look pretty neat. So I hope you guys don't mind that I'm trying something a little bit different here. With all that out of the way, the next thing was just to fill in some of the holes, because there were plenty, and then get rid of all this grass. There was so much grass, so I probably spent like 15 minutes just wandering around punching grass, because it's really hard to get a feel for what the shapes actually look like until the grass is out of the way. From there, it was just filling in a lot of this empty space, because I wanted to make the house a little bit bigger, and there just wasn't room to do that until I filled in a lot of this space. And then after I had filled all that in, looking at this hill over here, I was doing this all on live stream. My wife was watching, she chimed in and said, hey, you know, you should probably fill in some of that mountain, that hill to the left there. It's looking a little too flat maybe, so we added some extra roundness to that hill over there, and that I think helped offset it a little bit so that it looked a lot nicer. Finally, with all the terraforming mostly out of the way, I could get to work on actually putting together the house. For this, I'm just using slime blocks for no particular reason other than I could get a lot of them very quickly and easily, and they're also very easy to take down when you mess up, which I did a lot. You'll see in a minute that the final thing that I came up with looks almost nothing like what you're seeing right here. Whoops. But hey, that's why we plan. Okay, well, after a bunch of terraforming, there's still more to do. I think this is kind of the vibe I'm going for. I'm told this is Queen Anne style architecture. So over here, there's going to be, I don't know if I can really call it a wraparound porch at this point, but certainly a porch that goes all the way across the front. Maybe it should also come across this side. I am unclear. This would be the front door. And then this line right along here is just to demonstrate where the division of floors will be. This would be a turret. Maybe I can fit a staircase up in here. I think that could be fun. This would all be the balcony. I do realize that it's a little hard to see with everything being slime. That will eventually be fixed once I figure out what material I want to make it out of. And then this would just be sort of a window feature. Eventually I will figure out a roof. I'm not going to outline that. I'm more interested in just dealing with the basic structures for now. So you can see what's going on here. If we do it this way. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's perfect by any means, but I think it's a decent start. Obviously, back here, we need to fill in a little bit more of that grass. But yeah, I think this is something we can work with. And then I have terraformed this a little bit so that we can eventually continue this path up here. Maybe we'll put like a nice bit of flowers on either side or something. I don't know. Obviously more work to do, but I think this is a good start. So the next step here is just figuring out what color scheme I want. And I don't think these two, I'm not sure quite do what I want. These are a little bit more of sort of Victorian era flex, with the more vibrant colors being harder and more expensive to come by. I think that kind of works since I'm supposed to be the king of the town. All the peasants have to see how fancy I am. But the problem that I'm having is trying to figure out what total palette I want, I guess. Most of the Queen Anne style houses have siding, which you can't really quite mimic. The wood blocks work well enough. But yeah. The other thing is just trying to figure out what roof to go with. And I've been through a couple variations of prismarine and end and nether and blackstone and tuff and various other things. Just need to figure them out and see what I want to do. And just in case you're curious, This is what it looks like with the shaders. The shaders they kind of brighten up some of these darker blocks, which I think is nice. So I don't know. I'm experimenting and seeing what I like. Currently, I'm kind of leaning towards this or this. This part's so hard. So I think I've decided to go with this, the cherry and polished deep slate tiles. I mean, obviously the slime is not gonna stay, but this is the basic structure of the house. I extended it back 2 blocks so that we can give a different interior look, give a sort of a like the interior plaster wall look, and then obviously eventually over here there will be roof and that kind of stuff. So I think this is a good foundation. I still got to figure out what floors. I'm thinking hardwood. Hardwood makes sense to me, so this will probably be hardwood floors. I just need to figure out how I want to do that. And then build this part here. And then I think also eventually it might be fun to put back here either a back patio or a deck, and maybe we just bring this down, like cut out a bunch more of this so it's almost like a cliff. And then that can be our nice little fishing pond that is now tied to the house. So I think that could be cool. All right, I have done a roof line, mostly. I think let's fly up and take a look. I think this needs a little bit of work. I can't quite figure out how I want to get that going. This is going to be like a big window eventually. This, I think, is mostly fine, except for around the back corner here. This connection is a little wackadoodle. I think I need to try and figure out how to make that come around, maybe? I don't know. It's hard to figure out how to make that specific thing work in Minecraft. So I need to mess around with a little bit more, but we have the exterior essentially done, except for we need to make this porch, and then it's just time to go take a look inside. Alrighty, I think I'm happy with this roof now. It took me a little bit to figure it out. Ended up raising this a little bit more, cutting out some of the fence posts here, and moving the other angled bits to the farthest one out. And now this actually works as well. So eventually I need to close this off with something. And then the interior is next. And the porch and that stuff. But hey, you know, it's we're making progress. Let's have a little fly around the town. So there's my house with, I think, actually a pretty solid roof line here. It's got enough extra stuff going on to not be as boring as the rest of the village, town, my fiefdom, whatever you want to call it. It's big enough to sort of stand out as a mansion. Obviously, we need to add in some windows and details and things like that now. Maybe I'll do that next. As the sun rises here now with the shaders on, I added some windows. I think this is pretty good. The problem is going to be that at present, I'm using slabs at the top and bottom, so I can't really put glass there. I might have to rethink that. These ones are fine. They're just 2 blocks, but these are all got half blocks in them. I added a back door so that we can get out to a back patio, and I put in an oak floor for now. I want to figure out what I want to do for the inside. I'm thinking of trying to make it look more like each room is painted in some way or another. So I may do white for like the kitchen and whatnot. So maybe that will come like here. We'll have sort of a kitchen and dining area, living room maybe over here that goes out to the back. I'm gonna try and fit some kind of stairway in here, but I am not gonna be able to paint this any other color because I did not make it big enough. There's lots more work to do, but I am tired of looking at it. That's basically what it is. So I think I think maybe let's build a farm. I really need a moss farm because as we start terraforming here, that's going to be a problem. So I'm going to go look up a design and get something going. All right, I think we'll put the moss farm right over here since this is kind of the agricultural district. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to get a time lapse working, but let's build it. Okay, this is a build from a channel called Basic Redstone. I will link that in the description, of course. It is relatively small. It's not too obnoxiously big. Relatively easy to build. It's a very good tutorial. It's not missing any blocks or anything, but let's figure out if I actually built it right. So first things first, we need to put a whole bunch of bone meal in that, which means I need to do this. Yes. I think this should be exactly enough to fill this up. It is. And then we flick this lever. And if it's working correctly, there we go. Look at that. It's making moss. We're collecting moss. We're collecting all these other drops. I think some things are going in there. Other things are going in the bins. Bins? The chests. There we go. Now, is it perfect? No. I mean, ideally, we would want to filter it so that it's doing these things. What I'll probably do is just come in here and do stop it. One of these kind of numbers. There we go. But I mean, we've already got several stacks of moss now, so this is efficient enough. I just have to remember to turn it off when we are done here. And it looks like it does leave a little bit of extra that will eventually despawn up there, so it's not perfect. Wow, are these just like backed up? Holy moly. But that should do it for me. So now that that is done, unfortunately, this episode has taken me a very long time to make, so that is gonna have to do it for this episode. I do hope you enjoyed. Please hit the like button if you liked it, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!